wolf of vengeance. I had just turned 12 years old when it happened. In less than one night, I went from being a child, opening her birthday presents with her best friends, to a wide-eyed, shaking wreck of a girl. My childhood died with the brutal death of my best friend, and my nightmares have never let me forget. Not for one single night. They blamed it on shock, that seeing her corpse being mutilated like that must have made me see the creature I described killing her. I tried telling my parents, but they refused to believe me. I was just traumatized by what I had saw, they said, telling me it was likely a cougar or a wolf or a bear. But I knew what I saw, and it was definitely way bigger than any wild animal I knew about. When I went down to talk to the police, I tried explaining to them, but they just laughed me out of the station. It seems like someone is always making fun of me or being mean. Even one police officer said, "Get out of here, you crazy little witch." I just ran away in tears. It only took a few moments, but it casted a dark, graven shadow over years of my life. I have constant nightmares, waking up in a trembling cold sweat. I repeatedly dream about how it came into our tiny little camp while we sat around the fire. I even hear the raspy sound of its breath. I told others I didn't know why it chose Julie instead of me, but it was no random act of violence when the beast attacked her, biting into her shoulder blades and clawing her back. It had coarse black fur and walked upright like a human being, but it was neither human nor animal. At first, somehow Julie managed to scramble a short distance away, but she was no match for its jaws closing around her neck. I heard her bones crushing and cracking like the twigs we broke up for the fire. Within moments, she was limp and dead, like a torn-up rag doll. The thing bent to pick up her body with one clawed hand. It was lean, muscular, and at least 8 feet tall. I could hear it breathing deeply as it reached into her chest, tore out her heart, and feasted on it. I couldn't look away. I was frozen with dread. Sure, I knew I would die too. There in the woods, miles from my home and my family. I remember the beast's eyes. They are burnt into my memory like hot coals, yellow and glowing like twin moons. I saw malevolent intelligence in their depths. It had come here purposely to kill her. It raised one blood-stained claw and pointed at me, staring right into my eyes and further beyond. I felt my blood turn cold and my vision blackening. When I woke up, a rescue party had arrived with police, vans, and men in coats who took pictures of what was left of her mangled body. They covered it with a white sheet, which soon turned red. I repeatedly told them there was a monster beast out there, and it was cunning and cruel. That led to my parents sending me to a succession of therapists, psychologists, and finally a psychiatrist. I was just an average girl out on a camping trip, and within a night I became a withdrawn, cynical young woman, living every day in terror. I pleaded with my parents to believe me. They sent me to a mental institution instead. And I spent 3 years in Thornwood Institution, where they heavily medicated me and shocked me. It was like torture. Pure torture. I learned to lie to the staff to secure my release. But in my nightmares, I always relived seeing Julie's mutilated body, hearing her screams of terror, crushing bones, and squirting blood, and the beast panting breath as it feasted on her heart. When its eyes met mine and raised its claw, I always woke up, screaming. Luckily, screaming at night was a common thing at Thornwood. I hated my parents for sending me here. I never went back to my house. I felt nothing for them anymore. I got a job as a maid at a local inn and found a tiny, cockroach-infested apartment to live in. But the nightmares, they never stopped, and I was alone in the world. Doing my job became almost unbearable. I was always so tired and miserable, so I took to the bottle. At first to help me sleep, kept the nightmares quiet, but soon I was spending all my time drunk, and the nightmares returned, more vivid, louder, and terrifying as ever. I couldn't sleep. I was constantly paranoid, and then I finally lost my job. I kept seeing the beast in the corner of my mind's eye. I could only draw the curtains shut and cower in my bed. I'm writing this because it's my fault Julie died. I never meant for it to happen. I didn't think it would work. But it wasn't a wild beast that killed Julie. She had made fun of me at school, hurt my feelings, so I wanted to get back at her. I found an old book of spells and poems, and I read one out loud, called The Wolf of Vengeance, and I wished for the wolf to come for her. Even though I meant it at the time, I had no idea it would come to pass. Wolf of Vengeance by Ivan Karhoff. I call unto you from under. Bring your howl and growl against mine enemy. I'll give my life unto thee, if only you heed my plea, and take one other life for me. My enemy hath smited and spat upon my character. I hath fallen unto disgrace. Almighty, eat her heart. I'll be happy as a lark. In the name of the Wolf of Vengeance, I beg that of her there shall be no more remembrance. Years have passed since I performed my dirty deed, but I can no longer live with it. I can't escape or live with the vicious nightmares anymore. Emotionally, my heart is being ripped out every night, just as much as Julie's was. I have been in fear, wondering when the wolf will complete my cursed malevolent poem and physically rip my heart out. My life is worse than death. Is this what I gave unto the Wolf of Vengeance?
Bye.